Internet, can you hear me? I put the question out to Twitter and Facebook and was like, anyone have any questions for me? And a whole bunch of people replied, to my surprise, my delight. And so I'm gonna answer some of those questions. I'm Allie Moss, I'm a musician. A musician. Why is that word so hard to say? You know what words are hard to say? Brewery. There's a chain hotel called the Drury Inn. That's a weird word, Drury. But actually, here's one for you, tongue twister for you. I made up. Try saying airport oysters 5 times fast. Airport oysters. Airport oysters. I'm ready for your questions. Well, Allie is a nickname. My real name is Allison, but nobody calls me that unless they are a doctor, somebody who doesn't really know me. I feel like Ingrid's made me do a lot of crazy things on stage or encouraged me, and they're always fun. Like dancing, I'm not a dancer. You know, when I was 11, I burped in the middle of a song. Looking back on it, it's hilarious. To my 11-year-old self, it was not. I did not sing again in public for like 5 years because of that one teeny tiny burp. Now, I was just gonna say I burp all the time, but I don't. Ooh, I'm super into Phoebe Bridgers. I'm listening to the new Nationals album, and my favorite artist, David Bazan, put out a side project record called Low Tom. I'm listening to that. What else am I listening to? The Staves still. They're my favorite harmony queens. If you don't know them, go to their channel immediately, because there's some videos of them just like singing harmony in a hallway that will like melt your heart, melt your ear holes. That's it, I guess. I live in Nashville, Tennessee now, but I have been born. I was born and bred and lived my whole life in New Jersey, so this is new for me. I've toured a lot and seen all 48 continental US states. Just Hawaii and Alaska are on my list of states I have not driven through or stayed in or played in, but I'd never lived anywhere else. And so I actually was married before, and that amicably ended. And when that did, I was like, you know what? I don't need to stay here. Let me try something else. And I have friends in Nashville, and music is in Nashville, and I just wanted a change of scenery. Not that I don't love New Jersey. New Jersey. We get a bad rap, but I live in Tennessee now, and I'm learning about bugs and turkey vultures that I've never seen before. As well as there's humidity but no beach. People drive slower. And do everything slower, but it's good for me. It's got my road rage under control. Side note, these little hair ties that everyone wears and that like places sell for like 3 for $15, they're just elastic that's used in bras. You can buy it from sewing shops and make them yourself. Tips. Hair tips. Talking about tips for your hair. Yeah. I got to sing atop the BT Tower in London, and like nobody gets to go up there. And the view was insane, and it was catered, and there were just a captive audience. It was awesome though. And I've also played Red Rocks with Ingrid, also stunning view. So somebody wants to know, like, how did I feel about quitting my 9-to-5, and were people supportive of that in my life? And I will say that my ex-husband and my family have always been supportive of me being a musician and pursuing music. And I quit a job, but we took baby steps. So for me, it wasn't like one giant leap. It was like moves towards being a musician, and I would make more money or have more experience in music, and then I could move away from working 9-to-5. But I also had a dual income, so it worked at the time. You know, if you're in freelance, like now is the first time in my life I'm really freelance, and it's never easy because there's always ups and downs. But I go back to, if you haven't read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, it's a book for you because it talks about that. And there's like, to me, no shame if I had to go back to a 9-to-5, because I'm always going to make music and make art, and my voice just frogged up. It does take a leap of faith to like quit a 9-to-5 and the security of that, but also don't let your 9-to-5 stop you from making art, because you can do both and it doesn't have to be one or the other. Oh, it's Verita. Okay. I don't actually know how to say this correctly. My favorite restaurant here though is Chauhan Ale and Masala House. Everything's delicious. And the restaurant decor is awesome, and they play little movies on the walls, and the cocktails are good, the food is good. Go to there. I was super into Ella Fitzgerald and Björk, a band called Over the Rhine. I mean, I'm still into all those people. As well as there was just a lot of music around me in like church choir situations, church band situations, and my dad and mom love the arts, and so we saw a lot of live music. And I think that when somebody is good, sometimes it inspires me to be like, I need to go home and practice. I need to go home and write. Or be like, never mind, I give up. I'll never be as good as Ella. I don't think 10 years ahead. Did you know that people don't all think in the same increments of time? I took this thing called the Highlands Abilities Battery, and it told me that I think in about 6-month increments or smaller. So like I'm usually just planning like the next week of my life, and other people think really, really far ahead. So it's good to know that about yourself. It's really hard for me to imagine 10 years in the future unless I break it down into like smaller 6-month increments. But I will just say I hope I am healthy, and I hope I am still making music. I have a song called Passerby, and it was inspired by cumulatively a bunch of events in my life at the time that happened where I was in public spaces and a stranger either treated me really kindly or rudely. And in one of those scenarios, I had just come from the hospital, being there all night long. They were rude, and I just thought to myself, you know, if you knew me and you knew where I was just coming from, you might be a little nicer to me. And so that's kind of the inspiration where I was like, you know what? And in reverse, if I should imagine that when I pass someone on the street and just treat them like I would want to be treated, and you know, you don't know where people are going or where they're coming from. And so it sparked that question for me. And still does. I would love to go back to the UK to play shows, because honestly, you guys are amazing audiences. I don't know when that's going to be, because that plane ticket is not cheap. So maybe help me get there somehow. If you are independently wealthy, bring me over to the UK. Thank you for asking me these questions. I'll link some stuff below that I mentioned, like the book. Comment below if you have any other questions, and you can find me on the internet lots of places like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and here on my YouTube channel. Bye! Click if you wanna.